Good morning. Chillie's Cruises here with travel and cruise industry news for the 19th day of November 2019. As you can probably tell, I still got the scratchy throat. I'm still coughing like a fool. Comes and goes. So far, the last two broadcasts, I've managed to make it through it without coughing in your face. So hopefully we'll get through that this morning. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We had I can't even think 1,624 subscribers as of earlier this morning. So if you're new, we'd like to welcome you aboard. We meet every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the news as it happens and relates to the travel and cruise industry. Because my throat is sketchy and liable to go out on me at any time this morning, let's get right to it. What do you say? And this is actually a breaking news story according to Fox, Reuters, and Associated Press. We've talked about the Hong Kong situation several times before. About 100 anti-government protesters remained holed up at a Hong Kong university this morning as police siege of the campus entered its third day. City leader Carrie Lam said 600 people had left the Hong Kong Polytechnic campus, including 200 who were under 18 years of age. Police have surrounded the university and arresting anyone who leaves. Groups of protesters made several attempts to escape yesterday, including sliding down hoses to waiting motorcycles. But it was not clear, at least to Associated Press reporter, if those folks got out or were arrested. Lam said that those under 18 would not be immediately arrested, but could face charges later. She said the other 400 who have left have been arrested. We will use this is a quote, we will use whatever means to continue to persuade and arrange for those remaining protesters to leave the campus as soon as possible so that this whole operation could end in a peaceful manner, she said, after meeting with her advisors, actually this morning, our time, which is this evening, their time. This thing is now in its fifth month. The Hong Kong protest movement has steadily intensified as local and Beijing authorities harden their position, refuse to make any concessions. Universities became the latest battleground over the past 7 days or so, as protesters occupied several campuses using gasoline bombs and bows and arrows to fend off riot police that had armored cars and water cannons. Those at the Polytechnic are the last of the holdouts. And of course, there's been lots of social media stuff on both sides. People taking pictures and films and stuff and getting it up on the various social media aspects. Of course, China itself does not allow many of the social media platforms. China took control of the former British colony in 1997, promised to let it retain its autonomy. However, they flexed their muscles, sending troops outside the barracks over the weekend to clean up the operation. China's ambassador to Britain accused the UK and US of meddling in the country's affairs. So the situation is just getting worse and worse. Excuse me for a little break of coffee here. I have stated before, and I restated again, I don't know what the end of this situation is going to be. I mean, goodness knows we don't want to see another Tiananmen Square thing that happened back in however long ago that's been. but I'm just not sure I trust any of these folks. One thing is for sure, the face of Hong Kong's changed forever. I don't think Hong Kong will ever be the same again. Okay, moving right along. Royal Caribbean has announced that they will have 7 ships in Europe in 2021, which includes a number of their ships. Anthem of the Seas will be over there, running a number of itineraries. Anthem of the Seas, and that's a Quantum class. Vision of the Seas, Jewel of the Seas. I'm trying to skip down through this, so I'm not doing the whole. Rhapsody of the Seas, Odyssey of the Seas, which will debut in November of 2020. And so Royal Caribbean is making a major move on the European market, and we'll have 7 ships over there in 2021. So I saw this article last night. I've seen several articles about the flooding in Venice, which has been going on now for 3 or 4 days. It's causing the cruise ships to seek other ports of call. So the ships that were scheduled to go into Venice earlier this week, over the weekend, and this week, and throughout the week this week, are going to other places, and they're announcing it to their passengers as they know it. So far, there's been no words on any money compensation from missing Venice, but the Norwegian Spirit is one of them that's over there, and there are several MSC cruise ships that have been affected. So basically, Venice is shut down due to all the horrible flooding that they've had. Speaking of MSC cruises, 2 MSC cruise ships will serve as floating hotels during the World Cup of Qatar in 2022. MSC Cruises signed an agreement with Qatar's Supreme Committee of Delivery and Legacy for the 2 cruise ships, which feature a combined capacity of 4,000 cabins, and it'll be berthed at Doha Port, giving fans a spectacular view of the West Bay skyline. Chartering cruise ships was one of the targets of the Qatar folks when they landed the World Cup for 2022. And the 2 ships that will be stationed there for, I believe it's for about 3 months, will be the Europa, which is a new ship coming out next year, and the MSC Poesia. So you're going to have a new ship and the Poesia, which has been out a while, that will be in Qatar in 2022 for the World Cup. Yesterday, the president of Norwegian, in an interview, said that they're trying to get the company to remove millions of single-use plastic water bottles from its fleet by January 1st, coming up. President and CEO Frank Del Rio told CNBC on an interview Monday the company expects to replace more than 6 million plastic bottles each year with refillable and recyclable plant-based cartons. They've already started making use of some of these on some of their other cruise ships in the Oceanic lines and the Celestial lines, but they're going to start converting all of the Norwegian ships by the first, shortly after the first of the year. Currently, Norwegian has 16 ships that sail to almost 300 destinations around the world. So hats off to Norwegian for taking a environmentally sound move on their part. The Royal Caribbean has let out its menu and prices for the new barbecue, Portside BBQ on Oasis of the Seas, which has been added during its recent refurbishment. The Portside BBQ will be a specialty restaurant. It's not going to be included. It will serve lunch and dinner and late nights. The lunch menu, for instance, you can have you pick one of hand-pulled pork, Texas beef biscuit, smoked turkey. Pick one of those, and a dessert for $7.99. They also have turkey legs and smoked wings. The dinner menu, on the dinner menu, you can pick two of the meat items for $12.69 with a couple sides. And that includes barbecue chicken, hand-pulled pork, Texas beef biscuit, smoked turkey, St. Louis style spare ribs, sausage links, and burnt ends. Not sure what burnt ends are. If you get three meats, they'll be $15.99 per person. So the new portside barbecue on Oasis of the Seas, it's going to cost some money. If it's good, okay, I'll buy that. If it sucks, that's another story. But we'll have to see. As soon as somebody gives us a test on that, we'll get that on the air. All right, this came out last night, and it's something that I found very interesting. The U.S. News has announced their rankings of the best cruise lines for 2020. Now, since it's not 2020 yet, I'm wondering how they're doing that. I guess they're creating the best cruise lines in 2020 by what they've done in 2019. It didn't exemplify that one. But anyway, some of these surprised me. The best cruise lines for the money, Royal Caribbean. I always thought they were a little to the more expensive side. Celebrity, I thought they were an more expensive cruise line. And Norwegian. Norwegian, I thought recently was, who I thought was more of a bargain type cruise line, but they made up for it on their back end pricing. For luxury, Viking Ocean Cruises is number one. Seabourn Cruise Line, which I know very little about, and Crystal Cruise Line, which I know very little about, the second and third. For families, and this one surprised me, Disney. Not surprising, but that it's number one. Royal Caribbean was number two, Carnival number three. For couples, Viking Ocean Cruises is number one, Seabourn number two, and Crystal number three. In the Mediterranean, Seabourn, Crystal, and Viking. And in the Caribbean, overall, the best three is Disney, Royal Caribbean, and Seabourn. So, excuse me with the cough, folks. So I'm going to have to do some more looking at Seabourn. I know nothing about Seabourn, quite frankly. I mean, I know the name, but I don't follow their stuff. I don't have them on my website. So anyway, What are my thoughts on? I was checking back on the chat. James Connor. What are my thoughts on Liverpool? Are they looking for crew? I didn't see anything on that as I was researching the news overnight on what's going on over there. So I don't know. Shoot straight. Not a clue. Anyway, folks, I've made it through the show with my throat about to give out on me. So we're going to call it a day. If anything major happens between now and Thursday, I'll, of course, go on another live broadcast or get a video up as quickly as possible. I've got a busy day ahead as I've got to go out and visit some horses this morning, despite still being a little puny and under the weather. And then I've got a meeting, an online meeting this afternoon with our friend Bruce from Traveling with Bruce. So I can pick his brain on how he did that lovely interview show with our friend Emma last week on the technical end of it, so I can get my interviews called Chillie Chats going again. So that's all up today. So we got a busy day ahead for somebody that's still kind of puny. So I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. If you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, my interview shows, which will get going again one of these days, called Chillie Chats, and travel and cruise industry news Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just hit the little subscribe button down there someplace in the lower right-hand corner. Click on the bell notification, and you'll be notified as soon as I go live or post a new video. And that's about it for today, folks, because the throat is going quickly. I will see you guys on Thursday. This is Chillie with Chillie's Cruises, the fat travel guy saying later, y'all.